He is one of the best singers to ever come out of Minneapolis, selling 15 million records around the world.
But after more than a decade living across the pond, as they say, he's back in the Twin Cities now to help raise money for a very good cause. And Maury Glover got to sit down for a rare interview, Maury, with ALEXANDERONEAL. Cool.
Yeah, you know, O'Neal has been compared to legendary soul singers like Otis Redding. At the peak of his popularity, he was a staple on both R&B and top 40 radio. And now he's back in the city he calls home.
In a normal-looking building in a Twin Cities suburb, the smooth sounds of soul are in the air. Despite the fact this song is about a fake, this old-school crooner is the real deal.
One of the great things that I've learned to appreciate is how beautiful and how grown up our city has become. I think that, you know, it's such a major city now, and I'm really impressed.
Back in the late 70s, ALEXANDERONEAL was the lead singer for a local band called Flight Time, along with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. When Prince offered the band a record deal, he replaced O'Neal with Morris Day, and the rest of the band went on to fame and fortune as The Time.
It was something that just wasn't meant for me, and it didn't happen for me. But great things, you know, a lot of times, out of negative things, sometimes become great things.
O'Neal's road to greatness started with a record deal of his own, with the help of his friends Jam and Lewis, who by the mid-'80s had successfully produced other artists like Janet Jackson. O'Neal's first album with them, Hearsay, produced a string of R&B hits, like Fake, which hit #1, as well as Criticize and Saturday Love with Sherelle.
I often said, you know, you're never a real star until you're a superstar among your own people first, right? And I think that we achieved that.
But by the early 90s, O'Neal's star started to fade, with sales of his subsequent albums never reaching the heights of Hearsay. At the same time, his popularity exploded in England, where he's practically a national treasure, and he still holds the record as the only African-American to sell out the country's beloved Wembley Arena 6 nights in a row.
In America, you're only as big as your last hit record. It doesn't matter what genre you come from, you're only as big as your last hit record. In Europe, you become nostalgia, you know, you become something cherished, you know, and they always got a place for you. Here, what we do, we throw our treasures away.
After living in London for 14 years and traveling the world, O'Neal and his family moved back to Minnesota. But aside from a couple of shows at the Dakota, he's kept a low profile. Until his friend, Prince's former drummer, BOBBYZ, asked him to take part in his second annual fundraiser for the American Heart Association at First Avenue.
Because we're probably the most unlikely duo that hang out to even do business in this town, you know, and that's for many reasons that you guys might know.
A couple of camps going on.
Yeah, a couple of camps going on. But, you know, I just love working with the guy. He's great.
Now, more than 3 decades after he first topped the charts, O'Neal is stepping back into the spotlight. And even after all this time, this soul singer still has plenty of heart.
You know, I'm just thankful that I'm still in the music industry and still doing what I do almost 30 years later, so it's a good thing. Thank you so much. Good night.
Now, O'Neal says he's working on a new batch of songs that he hopes to release later this year, and he'll kick off that fundraiser for BOBBYZ's My Purple Heart Foundation at First Avenue on Saturday night. Guys, back to you.